So friends, once again, good evening. And this is an evening where we are going to be spending a lot of time in the company of two amazing, very unique leaders we have in India. Swamiji doesn't need any introduction. Swamiji has been with Youth Talks on the 12th of this month earlier, which was a very, very special edition that we had. For those who have just joined in, Swamiji, or Swami Nikhileshwaranandji currently heads the Sri Ramakrishna Ashram, Rajkot, which is a branch center of Ramakrishna Mutt, Belur Mutt. Ramakrishna Mutt and the Ramakrishna Mission, these two distinguished organizations were started by the great Swami Vivekanand almost 120 years back, and both of them have their headquarters in Belur Mutt, West Bengal. They have more than 205 branches across the world. Swamiji has been a beacon of knowledge, a beacon of spiritual learning. Swamiji has been a huge treasure trove for people all across the world when it comes to learning about Swami Vivekananda, anything that's got to do with the Indian scriptures. He graduated in chemical engineering with honors in 1970 and did his PG in industrial engineering in 1972. After working for a short period as a management consultant, he renounced the world and joined the Ramakrishna Order at its headquarters in Belur Mutt, and that was in 1976. He was then posted to Ranchi in Jharkhand, where from 77 to 86 he did a huge amount of work, and he guided the rural and tribal development project called the Divyayan Krishi Vigyan Kendra, which later received the award of the best KVK of the country. Later, for 11 years, he edited the Gujarati monthly Sri Ramakrishna Jyot that was published from Sri Ramakrishna Ashram, Rajkot, from 89 to 2000. Swamiji was the head of Porbandar Center for 8 years until 2005. He was instrumental in constructing 37 school buildings and 3 colonies in Porbandar district as part of the earthquake rehabilitation project, and in starting the Vivekananda Institute of Values, Education and Culture, which is also known as Vivek. It was, of course, inaugurated by the great Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the then President of India, on January 12, 2006. I had the privilege of interacting with Swamiji some time back, rather a long time back, when he was in Baroda. From 2005 to 2017, he was the head of the Vadodara Center, and he gifted or rather he converted Dilaram Bungalow, which was sanctified by the stay of Swami Vivekananda in 1892. And he has constructed the entire thing, rather he has converted the entire thing into a befitting memorial of Swami Vivekananda, which was handed over by the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Narendra Modi, to the Ramakrishna Mission in 2005. Swamiji is a true global figure. He is somebody who travels extensively in various parts of the world, sharing the message of Vedanta to many people, including corporates, industrial houses, management institutions, educational centers, and the likes. You all would be very, very proud and very happy to know that the 1892 lecture where Swami Vivekananda gave his most popular speech ever by any Indian in the world, that address at the World Parliament of Religions, that's the same place where Swamiji also has gone, and he's also blessed people through the same platform. Swamiji, I'm sorry, this is not doing justice to your introduction. This doesn't do justice to the wealth of knowledge that you carry, but then I'm sure this evening we would have another opportunity at a little more of, digging deep into who you are. Please accept my deepest gratitude for joining us this evening. Friends, Swami Nikhileshwaranandji for all of us. And joining him today would be a great friend of ours, somebody who's also been a great leader, a role model for many people, and he is Colonel Vishwajit Chaubey, retired. He was commissioned in the Corps of Engineers in the Indian Army in 1991 and served in the Army till 2008. He's an alumnus of the prestigious Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, having a vast experience as a combat engineer, where he gained expertise in mining, improvised explosive device and bridging activities, IEDs, that's what we keep hearing and seeing quite often in the television nowadays. He is an expert in bomb disposal and actively participated in counter ID operations in Northeast and J&K. He was an active participant in counterinsurgency operation in Jammu and Kashmir. During these services, during his army service, he was awarded the commendation cards for his outstanding contributions in the fields of his expertise. Colonel Chaube is deeply involved in infrastructure development of the BrahMos missile facility. That is where Dr. Abdul Kalam also had a great contribution. He is presently handling the prestigious project at different air bases of the country and is associated with many projects of national importance. He is also the recipient of the Special Award for Strategic Contribution in the year 2011. He is a blend of both combat engineering and civil engineering and is a proud recipient of the Outstanding Technologist Award 2015 conferred by the Construction Industry Development Council, CIDC. Colonel Chaube has played a very, very stellar and a very important role in construction of the Dr. Abdul Kalam National Memorial. He was its chief construction engineer, which they could accomplish the completion of the entire project in record time. For his contribution towards the Guru Kalam National Memorial, he was conferred the Inspired Indian 2017 award by the IIF Foundation. He is also the proud recipient of Project Leader of the Year award in recognition of his project management skill, leadership and expertise that has given a great bit of teeth to the infrastructure development in DRDO. Colonel Chaube presently holds an appointment as a Chief Construction Engineer, R&D South in Secunderabad. Thank you so much, Colonel Chaube.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your introduction. Thank you.
Pleasure having you with us. Gentlemen, ladies, boys and girls, Swamiji, as you have heard, on the 12th of May, has many years of experiences with Dr. Kalam, starting all the way, from 2002 onwards. Towards the later part of Dr. Kalam's life, Colonel Chaube had many opportunities as an associate, as an aide to Dr. Abdul Kalam to learn his leadership lessons from Dr. Kalam. And after the passing of Dr. Kalam, he wanted to contribute something from that he had learned in leadership to Dr. Kalam's memory. And that is where he, through DRDO, approached the government of India to construct the National Memorial. And a great pleasure that have both of you with us this evening. This is all that I'd be speaking, friends, this evening. This evening is all for listening into the experiences of Swamiji and Colonel Saab. Swamiji, पहला आपसे थोड़ा ये जानना था, पिछली बार आपने कहा था you gave a beautiful experience that you had with Kalam Saab visiting you at the ashram, and that brought tears to thousands of people who were listening to you. And even today, when people listen to you, people do get emotional that how could Sound of Music, directly go to his soul, and how was Dr. Kalam, mesmerized at the ashram. Swamiji, his humility is what you mentioned. In some of your articles and blogs, you've mentioned many of your experiences. Can you share, how did this journey of interactions with Dr. Kalam started? आपका और कलाम साहब का ये जो association था, ये शुरू कैसे हुआ?
Oh, right. I'll start from the beginning.
जी sir.
You know what happened, that I came across a book of Dr. Kalam, India 2020, A Vision of the New Millennium. And there he gave a very optimistic point of view about the future of India. Now, at that time, you must be understanding, in the year 2000, there was a lot of corruption in the country, and the whole atmosphere was very negative. And I had a flavor for interacting with the youth. Whenever I would go and interact with the youth and tell them Swami Vivekananda's vision of India, that Swami Vivekananda said that India will become so great that its past glory will fade into insignificance, and India will once again become Jagat Guru and will conquer the whole world. All these ideas that Swami Vivekananda's ideas are there in the books. I wanted to promote those ideas, and I had conviction in my heart, and so I was conveying those ideas. But the youths were not getting convinced. So when I got some facts and figures from the book of Dr. Kalam, that was very, very good welcome. That was a very welcome thing. So I started quoting Dr. Kalam. You see, even Dr. Kalam, who has analyzed the situation, who is one of the great figures, at the time he had not yet become the President of India. So that became handy to me, that book, number one. Number two, when I heard that he has taken premature retirement in order to interact with 100,000 students of the country, then I said, here is a man who is working out the ideas of Swami Vivekananda. Because Swami Vivekananda said, my faith is in the younger generation. It is they who work out my plans and programs. Here is a man who has got faith in the younger generation and is trying to work with them. So here is the man who can really translate the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda into action. So I wanted to interact with him, gift him some books of Swami Vivekananda, tell him whatever you are thinking, you are really carrying out and implementing the ideas of Swami Vivekananda. So I wanted to give him more ideas and more books. Now I wanted an opportunity to interact with him. So I got his phone number from one of the friends. And then I thought there has to be some sort of some reason for interacting. So I thought we had constructed 81 school buildings as a part of earthquake rehabilitation project in Gujarat. I'm talking about 2001. So 2001 only, 26 January, there was the earthquake and immediately we had started a rehabilitation project. So I thought, why not invite him for inaugurating one of the school buildings? That will be the good occasion. And then we'll invite the youth and he can interact with them. And that will be an occasion when I can present to him books and I can interact with him about the ideas of Swami Vivekananda, about youth development and all that. So I telephoned him. He himself picked up the phone. I thought that I told that you please give the line to Dr. Kalam. Dr. Kalam said, I am speaking, Dr. Kalam. That time he had no PA, he was just a simple man. He took up the phone. Then I told him that I want to invite you for this one. He said, Swamiji, I'm very busy. As you know, I'm meeting so many students all over the country, but I'll come. Then once or twice again, I reminded, he said, Swamiji, I'm very busy. Then suddenly I remembered, as I read in the newspapers that he was coming to Rajkot for a Christ College function on 25th December 2001. So I thought, let me personally invite. I was at that time the head of our Porbandar Center. So I came to Rajkot and sent a message that I want to meet you. Where should I meet you? Whether at the airport, because he had come only for a few hours and he was going to leave. And or whether I should meet you at your place of residence at Rajkumar College. He sent the message, Swamiji, you are a monk. I should come to you. You should not come to me. You see his humility. What a wonderful humility. So, and he himself came to the ashrama on his way to the airport. And without our invitation. And then he came. And then I told you last time how he went to the temple and how he was transported to a deep meditation. All these things I have told you. So that was my first visit with Dr. Kalam. And that time I told that you please, I personally told him I want to invite you for inaugurating one of the school buildings in Porbandar, constructed as a part of earthquake rehabilitation project. So he said, okay, Swamiji, I'll try. Then I said, and we will call 3,000 youth and you can interact with them. Oh, then I will come. Then he showed more interest. Then again, I telephoned him in the month of January. Once or twice, he said, Swamiji, I'm very busy. Let me see. Let me find out. Now, then I lost all hopes. I lost hopes and I left it. Suddenly, one fine morning, Dr. Kalam started talking to me on telephone. Then he said, Swamiji, Porbandar for going to Prasla. Prasla is about, say, 100 kilometers from there, about 80 to 100 kilometers. So I'll have to go to Prasla. So for which I have to go to Porbandar airport. From there, I go to Prasla and the flight reaches at 12:30. So I will have only half an hour and then I must reach Prasla by 3 p.m. This is what he told me. And I became very much excited. I said, Dr. Kalam, you had promised me that you will come. Yes, Swamiji, I'll confirm you. I'll confirm you later on. I'll confirm later on. Next day again, he telephoned. You see, he first himself is telephoning going on. Second telephone from him. Swamiji, I'm so sorry, I will not be able to come this time. Perhaps I will have to make another program for you because the flight time is changed. It is coming only at 1:30, so I will have to go straight from airport to Prashla. So, Swamiji, I'm sorry, I will have to make another program. I said, Dr. Kalam, but here all the people here in Porbandar have become mad out of excitement that you are coming. Now they'll become very much disappointed if you don't come. He says, Swamiji, but what to do? I can't help it. Then he asked, is there any morning flight, Swamiji, for Porbandar, from Bombay to Porbandar? I said, no, only one flight from Bombay to Porbandar. And suddenly a flash came to a thought came to my mind. But yes, there is a morning flight from Bombay to Rajkot. And if you come to Rajkot in the morning, we'll take care of your travel from Rajkot to Porbandar and you can finish the program and then we can take you to Prashla. Okay, Swamiji, let me think over. Third day, again he telephoned. Swamiji, I'm coming. I'm coming. You arrange my travel from Rajkot to Porbandar on 13th February. So this is how, then I went on 12th February, I went to Rajkot. 13th morning, we started from Rajkot at about 8 o'clock. And within 3 hours, we reached Porbandar. We had a lot of talks during that. And then he came to our memorial building where Swami Vivekananda stayed for more than 4 months, the same historic Bhojeshwar Bungalow. Just as there is a historic Dilaram Bungalow where Swami Vivekananda stayed as the guest of the then Diwan Manibai Jashbai in Baroda. So in Bhojeshwar Bungalow also Swami Vivekananda stayed as the guest of the then administrator Shankar Pandu Pandit. More than 4 months he stayed there. So government of Gujarat had given to us for converted to befitting memorial. That was in 1997. So we had already converted into memorial, and the room in which Swami Vivekananda had stayed, we had converted into meditation. So when I took Dr. Kalam to the room of Swamiji, where Swamiji had stayed, again he went to deep meditation. Same thing happened. And he was there on deep meditation for 10 minutes. Now there were 3,000 students waiting there for the inauguration of the school building. And they were all sitting there from morning. So again, I had to touch him. And I told him in the ear, Dr. Kalam, it is getting late. But he was not listening. Again, I had to shake him like that time. Then he said, I said, Dr. Kalam, it is getting late. 3,000 students waiting there for a long time. Then he wrote down also in the visitors book of Porbandar, Swamiji, I am so thankful to you for giving me such a wonderful experience here at Porbandar, for giving me so much happiness. He wrote down in the visitors book. And he wrote down in his book, Ignited Minds, that at Rajkot Ramakrishna Ashram in the temple, as well as at the room in which Swamiji stayed here in Porbandar, both the places I was lost in meditation. That is the word he has used, I was lost in meditation. Then he went to, we took him to the school after refreshment, and then he inaugurated the school, planted a tree, talked to 3,000 youth, wonderful interaction. Birthplace, came to ashram again, took lunch, and then he went to Prashla. And then again, it so happened in the evening, he went to Rajkot for taking a flight to Bombay on to Chennai. And it so happened that I had also to take a flight that very day from Rajkot to Bombay on to Varanasi for the centenary celebration. And seeing me in the aircraft, Swami says, Swamiji, you are going by the same flight. I want to sit near you. Like a small child, I want to sit near you. I said, okay. Then I told the young man who was sitting by my side, please go to the seat of Dr. Kalam, Bharat Ratna. I want to sit near me. And then he told Dr. Kalam, said, Swamiji, in the morning you told so many nice things about Swami Vivekananda. Please tell something more. Again, I told many things. So this is how the whole thing started. But one thing I would like to share when we are talking about leadership, I mean, hours together I can talk. We had more than 20 meetings together, and each and every meeting is so inspiring. But I would like to share, since you have given the topic on leadership,
Ji, Swamiji.
you know that the type of leadership that is now very much popular in the whole world, not only in America, but in the whole world, is servant leadership. Though started by Robert Greenleaf in 1976, now it is becoming very popular. That servant leadership, because now the 21st century is the knowledge society, and it's a knowledge workers society. It's a century of knowledge workers. So the old traditional methods of leadership and management will not go, will be in vain, as Peter Drucker said. So now the servant leadership is becoming very popular. But though Robert Greenleaf started servant leadership, is based on the ideas of Indian spiritual culture. If you go through the book Servant Leadership, you will find out his basic inspiration was like that. But in India, we have been practicing this servant leadership for thousands of years. Sri Krishna practiced it, Gandhiji practiced it, Swami Vivekananda practiced it, Dr. Kalam, of course, practiced it. So I'll share one incident about that. So when we took Dr. Kalam to that school for inaugurating the school at Porbandar on 13th February 2002. After inaugurating the school, he delivered a beautiful lecture. Then he was asked this question: what is the source of your inspiration? Then he said, normally I do not leak out this secret, but this is the right place to leak out this secret. And then he said, I was in the 8th class and I was the monitor of my school. And my headmaster called me, today you bring all the children to the school and they will listen to the running commentary over radio, no TV at that time. 15th August 1947, India will be at independence and all of them must listen to the running commentary. So he said, I brought all these students, I was the monitor, and we listened to the radio. The lectures were in English and Hindi. We did not know any of these two languages. We knew only Tamil. But anyway, we were happy that the nation became independent. Then he says, next in the morning, I saw 2 photographs on the newspaper. The first photograph showing Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru hoisting the Indian flag on the Red Fort. And he said, Dr. Kalam said, I was very happy to see that photograph. By the side was the second photograph. And Dr. Kalam said, that second photograph was my primary education, was my secondary education, was my college education, and was my life education. And what was that photograph? That photograph was showing when the whole nation was celebrating the independence of India. The person who did maximum for that, who sacrificed maximum for that, who labored day and night for that, that person was not celebrating the independence of India. He was walking barefooted in the streets of Kolkata, wiping the tears of the people who were suffering because of Noakhali riots, Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. He said, I was so much impressed. I said, here is the nobility of leadership. He could have become the Prime Minister of India, but he never cared for any power and position. He sacrificed his maximum. And the day all are enjoying, the day all are celebrating, he's not celebrating. He is still having that compassion. He's still weeping for the people who are weeping. He's still the day on which India has become independent. He said, I could understand what is the nobility of leadership. That was a great lesson for me. And I think Dr. Kalam has imbibed that lesson of nobility of leadership from the life of Mahatma Gandhi. He got that inspiration. And when I told him about the idea of Swami Vivekananda, how he practiced servant leadership, he was very much happy. How this Ramakrishna Mission was started by Swami Vivekananda and all that I had told. So he is a great source of inspiration. Dr. Kalam also has practiced servant leadership. See his humility. So many incidents I can share with you, how humble he is. Once we had we had a youth convention that was 18th of January 2000, Baroda. So as soon as he entered, it was C.C. Mehta Auditorium. And as he was stepping up the platform, all were clapping. As soon as he entered, all were clapping. And he was just stepping up the platform, the dais, he saw a beautiful chair was kept for him. Other chairs were simple chairs. For him, that was a beautiful chair. No, we could not manage so beautiful chair, so we had taken on rent. And he was very angry. He said, "What is this? Remove this chair. Remove immediately." Then only he entered the dais. First, we had to remove the chair. He said, "Let all the chairs be same." He insisted it should be a simple chair. I was amazed at his simplicity. Other places, the minister said, "You must bring this chair." And we have a written also, if you do not have special chair with so much bag, this and that, you are gone. Here is the reverse thing. He is telling it should be a simple chair. I was amazed. Of course, at the time, he was not the president. I'm talking about 2012.
Yes.
Whatever it is, even when he was the president, Rashtrapati, he broke so many protocols. I know when I went to meet him, thrice I met him at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So whatever it is, I am very much charmed by his servant leadership, his nobility of leadership that he learned from Gandhiji and practiced himself, and his sense of humility and all that. I have many things to share, but I am waiting for listen to some Mr. Chaube.
Well, thank you, Swamiji, for mentioning so many beautiful incidents that Kalam Sahab had with you. And the last incident that you mentioned of 2012, I was also in the audience when I, observed this entire sequence of transactions between Kalam Sahab and all the organizers. And that was when I realized that this is not an ordinary man. He's not just Dr. Kalam, the creator of India's missile program. He's a saint in human form. And that was absolutely true, a saint in human form. Colonel Chaube, now you've had the privilege, the pleasure, and of course, it is most definitely a blessing to be around Kalam Sahab for so many years, working with him. And then, after his passing, you were also instrumental in creating one of the most spectacular memorials this country has. I'd like to know from you, because you've been a leader, you've led a huge force as well. How would you define Dr. Kalam? Because Dr. Kalam is not just a person to be explained. Dr. Kalam possibly is also a thought. How would you define Dr. Kalam? And possibly, if you can also share a few of the lessons from the many that you have, a few lessons that you'd like to share with all of us in leadership.
Thank you very much. With due respect to Swamiji, Koti Koti Namaskar, Pranam.
Namaskar.
Let me first congratulate Madriji. You are actually organizing these youth talks and igniting the mind of the youth of this country from this electronic media. That's what Dr. Kalam used to do. So I see a disciple, a true disciple of Dr. Kalam when he is not in this world.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, very true. I agree with you.
So I wish you all the best in this noble endeavor of yours. And I'm sure that people like me and like so many will get inspired by such kind of platform which you have created. Also, my greetings to the viewers, those who are viewing it. As you told, how to define Dr. Kalam. I'll come to my association with Dr. Kalam a little bit later. But how to define Dr. Kalam? Actually, this question is not to define him, just to feel it. But I take Dr. Kalam as a divine soul. He was an epitome of virtues and values, full in the life. No doubt, Dr. Kalam was revered as a great scientist and as a missile man of the country. But according to me, he was a great human being, simple, sober, and kind enough. Swamiji has explained it very well. In a very simple language, he was simple, sober, and kind.
Yes.
As Swamiji told that when he was traveling in the aircraft, And like a child, he came to him and wanted to sit with him. I have experienced the same thing. His childlike innocence and simplicity appealed not only the smallest kid of the country, but also the greatest scientist of the world. That kind of a simplicity he had with him.
Very true.
A statesman, motivational guru, Dr. Kalam exhibits and inspiration to millions of youth of this country and abroad. His determination to champion the dreams is a source of inspiration to the youth at all levels. People of India rightly take pride, and we take pride in what Dr. Kalam has done for envisioning India and empowering the people of world's most eventful democracy. This is how I see Dr. Kalam as a spiritual leader, as a leader. He wore many hats, basically. You call him scientist, missile man, writer, poet, but he always remembered to be as a guru, as a teacher. That's why his name was also Guru Kalam. And most of us, we refer him as Guru Kalam with great humility and respect. He was the people's president. He used to feel the pain of it. Whenever I used to go along with him or to interact with him in 10 Rajaji Marg, when he was out of the president house, he used to ask 2-3 very basic questions. He used to ask what we are giving to the society. We are taking fresh air from the environment, what we are going back to the environment. That kind of a feeling I used to have when I used to interact with him. He used to feel pain when he used to travel and see so many beggars onto the left and right side of the road. He used to come back and say how these people below the poverty line will come up. That's how he implemented this in the PURA program also, providing urban resources to the rural areas.
Yes.
So he was indeed a great man, and I consider myself to be very blessed to be in his company of such illustrious personality. And such soul never departs, and his spirit remains always to guide and inspire generation and generation. Now, if, as you have chosen this topic for leadership model of Dr. Kalam, I would like to touch upon this. If you see his most of the speech which is available on the YouTube or internet, he always takes 6-7 leadership traits, and he defined leadership with these words. As per him, he says the leader should have clear vision. He should know what he is. Dr. Kalam himself was a great visionary. So the leader should have great vision. He must have tendency to travel unexplored path. He should be taking risk. He should have courage to manage the failure. He should have, and if you go and see the video where SLV3 launch was there, and he was the mission director, he explains it very beautifully. He says the leader should take the failure. Leader can take the success, credit of the success, but the true leader always takes the credit or discredit of the failure also. And he narrates a very beautiful story of satellite launch vehicle 3 when Rohini was supposed to be in 1979 was supposed to be orbited in space. He was the mission director, and he launched the satellite. Instead of going to the orbit, it went into the Bay of Bengal. So it was great humiliation for the entire scientific community. But what he narrated, that his chief, the ISRO chief that time, Professor Satish Dhawan, instead of telling Dr. Kalam to go and face the media which is waiting outside, the chief himself went to the media and told, friends, today we have failed, but we will put in our best, and within 1 year of time frame, we'll come back, we'll bounce back. And after 1 year, the same Rohini was launched successfully in the orbit. That time, the chief says, ISRO chief, Dr. Kalam, you go and brief the meeting. That he explains that when the failure was there, leader took the credit or discredit. He took the responsibility. But when it came to the success, he sent Dr. Kalam to take the entire success. That is the true leadership. Then he defines leadership as a sense of courage, a sense of care and share. He says that leader is only because of the followers. Leader is not alone to lead. Leader is leaderless without follower. Therefore, he talks about the team spirit. He talks about the team, the value system, the bonding and synergy in a leader. He says that a leader is successful when the team members are successful. And therefore, care and share was one of the traits, one which he used to define for the leader. Leader should have, must have courage to take decision. He took decision to launch the SLV-3 when the computer was telling not to launch it. So he bypassed the computer and took a chance. So it was a failure. But that failure was converted into success after 1 year. So in the trial mode, a leader at that level, they should always take some amount of risk. And that's how leader also makes himself, takes the corrective measure. Leader should be transparent and totally, his integrity should be intact. And I think Dr. Kalam, there is no other example than Dr. Kalam as a man with total transparency and integrity. Let me tell you, when he was coming from Rashtrapati Bhavan to temporary house in Delhi Cant, because that time 10 Rajaji Marg was not ready for him. And somehow I got the opportunity to bring his luggage from Rashtrapati Bhavan to the designated place in Delhi Cant. There was only 2 suitcases, in which one was his personal belongings like his computer, maybe his pant, coat and shirt, and another was books. So I had gone along with a big vehicle, but I thought that I can carry it in my hand. Dr. Kalam had gone with 2 suitcases and he came with 2 suitcases from Rashtrapati. When I talked to those persons, those who were associated with him, they told that as a president, he had a lot of souvenir which was gifted to him by the many head of the states when he visited different countries, or when he used to go for some, used to go as a chief guest. What he did, and these gifts were very costly. If somebody goes as the head of the state, these gifts, those are given by the country, is a very costly gift. He got it recorded, what all gifts he has got, photographed, made an inventory and donated the entire thing to Rashtrapati. Not a single thing was carried as his personal belongings. The entire, his presidency life was dedicated to that president house and he left it there. He had gone along with 2 suitcases and came along with 2 suitcases. I'll give you one more incident. When I was involved in making the National Memorial for Dr. Kalam. That I'll talk separately, but this incident I want to tell it to our viewers. It was to be inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister on the 2nd death anniversary of Dr. Kalam, 27th July 2017. On 26th July, when it was everything about to get finished, I went to his house. His elder brother is there. His nephew is there. So I requested him, can I get the last baggage, which he had carried to IIM Shillong. I had written a requisition letter also authorized that I want to carry it from his home and I want to keep it in the memorial. And we had made a very, very beautiful showcase for that. with a heavy heart, their family members, they brought the trunk, and there were 2-3 suitcases. Actually, there was one bag and one VIP suitcase, which they gave it to me, handed over to me. So I took it, came to the memorial, and with my team, I just opened everything. Swamiji, I can tell you, I found one shirt, one trouser, one Toshiba laptop, which was very old. The President of India carrying a Toshiba laptop, but it was working, and he was happy with that because he used to make a lot of presentation before he used to go anywhere. That I had seen him in 10 Rajaji Marg. Then I found his pen, his one small diary, and the diary was full of, I tried to read it, though it was personal, but I couldn't stop myself but to read it. It was all spiritual. He used to write everything for the society, scribbled what he was about to tell to the student or to the gatherings. He used to write in that. I could see everything. He was talking spirituality in all of his scribbling and notes and all. Then I saw one sleeper, bathroom sleep. And everything I started keeping it and showcasing it. One of the sleeper, out of one, वो मेरे हाथ से उलट गया. तो उलट गया तो मैंने देखा कि उसमें स्टिच किए हुए हैं हाथ से. His sleeper was stitched by hand. Maybe he would have got it stitched from his sahayak, whoever he met maybe, or probably he would have stitched himself.
Quite possible.
Sir, स्वामी जी, लोगों के आंख में आंसू आ गए कि भारत का प्रधानमंत्री, भारत रत्न, उसके स्लीपर में वो टाके लगे. It was, and till date that sleeper has been kept like ulta only, because automatically it got, yes. I think some ऐसा होना था, वो आज की डेट में उल्टा रखा हुआ है. इतने पुराने, इतने चीजों को, simplicity was his great strength. That's why the people's president he is known as. उनकी जुराबें, उनके चश्मे, उसमें कोई ऐसा नहीं लगा कि ये कोई ऐसी चीजों के पीछे भाग रहे हो जो कि जिसके पीछे हम लोग भागते. A great soul I could find in him. Now, now I will just say that since this is a platform, we are remembering him and paying tribute to Dr. Kalam. उनके कई कोट्स ऐसे हैं जो दिल को छूने वाली है और लोगों को, यूथ को इग्नाइट करती है. खासकर उन्होंने, he was a great dreamer. That's why a small boy from Rameswaram, he reached to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. उनके लाइफ में काफी अप्स एंड डाउन्स थे, उतार चढ़ाव थे. उन्होंने शेयर किया हमसे कई चीजों का. रामेश्वरम का एक बालक जिसके पास, जो अपने जिंदगी के कुछ इनिशियल दिनों में अखबार बेचा करते थे, वो राष्ट्रपति भवन के सफर को तय. ये एक, लेकिन इन सब के पीछे उनका एक ड्रीम था. Used to say, you have to dream before your dream comes true. And if you want to shine like a sun, first burn like a sun. ये उनकी ऐसी चीजें थी जो दिल को छू करके आपके मर्म को छूती. जब मैं उनके साथ मिलता था 10 राजाजी मार्ग में, मैं 4 साल से, बिफोर ही डिपार्टेड टू द हेवन, 4 साल से मैं उनसे मिल रहा था. और मेरी मुलाकात डॉक्टर सिप्थानु पिल्ले, वो, he was chief of BrahMos missile project. He took me to him and he introduced me to him, and he told he is Colonel Chaube. He was in the army earlier, now he is scientist in DRDO. So he told, oh, you are a military man? Yes, sir. So you are now scientist in DRDO? Yes, sir. So you are a colonel scientist. I lost my identity and I became colonel scientist for him. And as a scientist, he used to treat me. I saw a lot of affiliation. धीरे धीरे मैं उनके नजदीक आता गया. उन्होंने बोला, what engineer you are? I told, sir, I'm a civil engineer. Will you do a thing for me? I said, yes, sir. Well, I have got a land in Rameshwaram and I want to make a world peace center. Rameshwaram is a sacred land which shows the path of spirituality to the entire world. And I want to make a world peace center there. So I told, no problem, sir. Please tell me what is to be done. He took a pen and paper and he just made a sketch and he told, I want that researchers should come to Rameshwaram and they should connect with the entire world through electronic media and they should spread the message of peace, love and spirituality. And he told me, have you gone to Rameshwaram? I told, no, sir, I have not gone to Rameshwaram. So with his hand, he indicated his land. From land, mandir was seen. From his designated land, the masjid was seen. In the same line, the seashore was not seen, but he told, if you go straight, you will find a sea after 8 kilometers. He told that I want a small dome, most probably dormitory sort of a thing. He would have visited so many countries, he would have seen like this facility. He told, I want them to join, and he told that the entire expenditure will be borne by me. Though so many people comes and they want to donate, but he was the man with a lot of values. He didn't accept any single paisa from any of the donors. He told, I write book, I collect some money because of writing as a this thing. So I'll fund everything. You make a world-class facility. I took precisely 7 days and made a 3D view and shown it to him. He told, have you gone to Rameshwaram to see it? And I said, no, sir. He told, you go and see it first. So I, along with my colleague, went to Rameshwaram, saw the area, came back, took my booklet which I had given him. I said, I will redesign it again. He told, what happened? He told, what I had thought when I went there. Then when I went there, then I understood what is Rameshwaram and what do you want. Because in the building, it was not showing the reflection of Rameshwaram. When I went to Mandir, I saw how beautifully Mandir was carved. There was masjid, there was Girjaghar, there was a street where all sorts of people were there without caste, creed and nationality. So when you design a building, you give the facade of a building. So you take the local features which you embed into that. So he understood. He just smiled and gave that booklet to me. When I presented him after 7 days, the 3D views and all these facilities, he told, I think you have understood it. You have given a feature in this building of each and every feature which is there in the Rameshwaram.
Very good.
So that feature were embedded, that was given into that building. He told, okay, this is fine. Now you tell me how much time it will take and how much cost it will. I told, sir, I will work it out. First you approve the line plan. Then he approved. And he told, we'll discuss again. Then he gave me the number of his friend there in Ahmedabad. So many people. He told you, talk to them, take their views, take their inputs, and try to, whatever they suggest, good things you take and take as an input and revise it. All these things were going on. And I was also enjoying the pearl of wisdom which he was spreading whenever I used to meet. One day I took my entire family to 10 Rajaji Marg. My daughters, my wife. He was very much impressed with my daughters because they were very inquisitive to see Dr. Kalam live. We are sitting in front of Dr. Kalam. So Ananya is my smaller daughter, younger daughter. When she was looking at him, he asked, Ananya, you want to ask a question? Correct? Yes, sir. I want to ask you a question. Ask me. He told, how did you become a rocket scientist? You wanted to become a rocket scientist right from the beginning, or you became by default? How did you become rocket scientist? He told, very good question you have asked. I was a backbencher in the school. And I was not very good at study. So one day the teacher picked me from the back bench, and he brought me to the front bench. And he was that day explaining how the birds fly. And he asked me a question, at the last, Dr. Kalam was explaining to Ananya how the bird flies. He couldn't answer. So the teacher took the entire class to the seashore where seagull bird is there. And he showed them how the birds fly, how he spreads the wing and with the downwash of with the air pressure, it goes up. He explained scientifically. He told, that day I decided to fly. As a human being, I cannot fly. So I wanted to make something fly. And the viewers may be aware that in this connection, he wanted to join Indian Air Force also. He applied twice. He went for SSB. And unfortunately, he couldn't succeed. So he had a flair for the air. He had a flair for the limitless sky right from the beginning. When he was not succeed in joining the Indian Air Force, he joined defense as a DRD and then joined ISRO. And what he made is in front of us. The weapon flies like anything. It hits the target to the absolute precision. Prithvi, Agni, it is the gift of Dr. Kalam to a mighty nation like India. So there are different instances, Swamiji, which I have seen. He asked me once, sir, as a military leader, what the good thing you have done while you were in army, which gives you satisfaction. So I quickly remembered that we had launched an operation in counterinsurgency area, and I took it by profession is one of the best operations which we had done. I cannot explain it, but the crux is, it was a most successful operation, and organization wanted to honor after some days because this operation was very, very successful, to honor in terms of an award. So I got an award. So I told, that award gives me a lot of satisfaction, sir. He told, okay, were you in that operation alone? No, sir. So how many your man was awarded apart from you? I told, sir, I was the only one who was awarded. Okay, no problem. Anything else? I told, no, nothing to share. Achha, what happened after this award you got? I got promotion thereafter. So you got promotion. So this award helped you in getting promotion also. Told, maybe, probably, and yes, award has got weightage in your promotion. That's good. So it was a teamwork. Yes. After saying this, there were another few people waiting for them, and he got busy. But that question of asking, were you alone in this operation, where other people were not there? I had a guilty feeling that why couldn't I nominate my subordinate for such a. That feeling of guilt was there inside me. So now it has happened, you can't do anything. But as the luck would have it, when at that time you were doing one project, and this project was very, very important, national important, strategic project, that was commissioned very successfully. And again, that platform came where I was told to send 2 nominations for the award, and it was an instruction that your name necessarily to be there. So I sent 2 names, but in that my name was not there, but I sent it. So I was told, no, your name is not there, you send your name also. So I sent 3rd name because they increased 1 more award. So I sent 3rd name. He told, your name is not there. And I go, no problem, sir. They are the deserving scientists. They must get it. All 3 scientists got the award. I went to Dr. Kalam and told,
oh,
sir,
wonderful,
I got a lot of satisfaction. So what you have done? I told, I nominated 3 of my officers, scientists, those who are involved in the project, and they got award. So how did you get satisfaction? When they were receiving the award in a function, I saw the smile on their face and their family's face, their wife, the children. He told, yes, a leader should have that feeling of care and safety. सो ऐसी चीजें सीखने के लिए इस महान पुरुष से हमें।
बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा।
स्वामी जी, मतलब आज एक डॉक्टर कलाम की जरूरत इस देश को नहीं है, कई डॉक्टर कलाम की जरूरत। आज हेमाद्री जी कर रहे हैं, आप ऐसे यूथ को इग्नाइट कर रहे हैं। ऐसे आज के देश में जरूरत है डॉक्टर कलाम जैसे उन लोग। भगवान ने अगर एक ही व्यक्ति में सब कुछ बनाया जो परफेक्ट हो, तो वो डॉक्टर कलाम के रूप में हम लोग।
बिल्कुल।
एवरीथिंग इज इन वन मैन।
Absolutely.
I will say a lot of questions I used to ask him. So one question which I asked, I would like to share with viewers. I asked him, and which was asked by so many number of people. I was one amongst them to ask this question. I asked, sir, what is the happiest moment in your life? Because he asked me a question, what is your happiest moment in your life, success and all that. So I took that liberty to ask him. And Swamiji, agar aap kabhi gaye honge to from 7 to 8:30 he used to meet people. And I always invariably I used to be there at 8 o'clock so that when he gets time after 8:30, he will spend some time with me. And he used to spend time with me for half an hour before he used to go to the upstairs for his dinner and rest. I asked him, sir, can I take liberty to ask you a question? He told, tell me. I go, what is your happiest moment in your life? He told, okay. He always, whenever you see his video, he used to say, oh, very good question. He used to encourage people by saying such kind of a thing. Oh, very good question, Colonel Scientist, you have asked me. बैठो। वो खड़े हो गए थे, बैठ गए। उन्होंने बोला, when SLV3 Rohini was launched in 1980, that was the happy moment for him, because he was the mission director, he was the project director. In 1989, when Agni missile was launched, I became happy, because that time he was the head of the integrated guided missile development program. Then he told third moment he expressed when he was chairman of one technical information forecasting committee, which gives the entire roadmap of technological advancement to the country, which was accepted by the Prime Minister that time. So he told that was the happy moment because I was the chairman and we put a lot of effort in making a vision document for the security for the country. And fourth, he told in 1998, when India became the nuclear state, that time also he was the chief missile man and Pokhran too. So I told, sir, great to hear all this from. Well, no, you have not heard the happiest moment in my life. I go, sir, what is that? He told, when I was in Hyderabad in one of the lab as a lab director, one of the orthopedic surgeon or the doctor, he told the name, Dr. Prasad. He came to me and took me to the orthopedic hospital, where I saw the clipper, which children, they were the disabled children because of bones and the muscles. They were wearing the clipper, which was 4 kg of weight.
Yes.
He told, he talked to those child and उनको लगा ऐसा कि ये चल नहीं पा रहे हैं, 4 kg का वेट बच्चे पैर पे लगा के कैसे चलेंगे. He came back to the laboratory और अग्नि मिसाइल में एक हीट सील्ड के लिए एक मेटल यूज होता है. When it goes into the very high temperature area, it is a heat shield. That metal is very, very unique metal, and weight is 1/10, 1/20th of the normal metal, but its tensile strength is very, very high. It is very robust material. So he developed clippers with that material and sent the doctor, you try it out with the children. He sent 3-4, and that was very good, encouraging response from the doctor. So he sent around 100 all, and he went to see personally how the children are now walking or running. He told, when I saw them running with that 400 gram of clipper, which was 4 kg, it came down to 400 gram. And the children were, all these children were very so happy. He told, I found the tears in the eyes of children as well as their parents. And that tears was the greatest joy for me. And that is the happiest moment.
Yeah.
That was Dr. Kalam.
Amazing.
That was Dr. Kalam. He was connected to the emotions. He was connected to the, he used to feel the pain of the society. That was उनकी एक खासियत थी. तभी वो इतने महान व्यक्ति हैं और तभी वो पीपल्स प्रेसिडेंट के नाम से जाने लगे.
Very true. You are very true. Very
और
true.
एक चीज बताना चाहूंगा, आई गेट वन मोर मिनट. मैं वो उनका वर्ल्ड पीस सेंटर तो नहीं बना पाया बिकॉज ऑफ व्हेन ही वाज इन IIM Ceylon and everybody we know that he left for heavenly abode. बट जब बनाने की बारी आई कि उनका मेमोरियल बनेगा, मीडिया वाज वेरी वेरी एग्रेसिव बिकॉज व्हेन यू सी द फर्स्ट फोटोग्राफ of the memorial, it was not a memorial, it was a tin set of 16 feet by 16 feet in the just 8 kilometer sort of Rameshwaram, Perambu करके एक जगह है, वहां पे 16 feet by 16 feet के एक टिन शेड में डॉक्टर कलाम का मजार था. आप मजार बोल रहे या मेमोरियल. लोग जाते थे, श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करके वहां से चले आते थे. मीडिया ने इस चीज को उठाया बिकॉज कैटल्स दोज हु वर देयर, कुछ ऐसी घटना हुई कि कुछ कैटल्स बहुत नजदीक जाकर के उन्होंने ऐसा कुछ किया ताकि मीडिया ने उसको हाईलाइट करके ही टोल्ड पीपल्स प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया उनका मेमोरियल. और एक कैंपेन चल गया, गुरु कलाम मेमोरियल का एक बहुत बड़ा कैंपेन चला. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर ही अनाउंस्ड on 15th of October, that is his birthday, from the DRDO Bhavan, that we are going to dedicate a national memorial for Dr. Kalam on his second death anniversary, which was supposed to come in 27th of July next year. We were all there in the auditorium. I just got hold of our boss. I told this is the right opportunity to pay tribute to Dr. Kalam. He was a DRDO chief, and Dr. Satish Reddy, who is the present DRDO chief now, and that time Dr. Christopher was there. They took the lead and they gave a proposal to Government of India through Ministry of Urban Development. Dr. Venkaya Naidu sir was there that time. And DRDO was given this responsibility to make the memorial. And when it came to DRDO, obviously, I was the first choice to do it. We, along the chief, sat down. The knowledge which we can hire from the outside, we did our art memorial with a intention that whenever anybody goes there, he should come out from that memorial fully ignited and inspired.
Very nice.
स्वामी जी, मैं आपसे आग्रह करूंगा कभी जाके अगर देखें तो डॉक्टर कलाम की पूरी लाइफ को, उनके बचपन से लेकर के प्रेसिडेंट तक, उनको वहां पे प्रदर्शित किया गया है.
Very good.
In terms of photographs, in terms of his tableau, 3D paintings, और उनके पूरे लाइफ को वहां पे दिखाया गया ताकि जो भी बच्चे जाएं. और आज की डेट में 5,000 कम से कम एक दिन में ऑन एन एवरेज विजिटर्स होते हैं.
अच्छा, very nice.
Minimum 5,000 because we are maintaining as of now. We have built it and we are maintaining it. We have got a record.
I would love to visit.
Yes, sir.
I would love to visit it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It has become रामेश्वरम मंदिर के कारण तो है, लेकिन पहले मंदिर में बच्चे नहीं आते थे. बच्चों को मंदिर से बहुत ज्यादा प्रेम नहीं होता है. बुजुर्ग जाते हैं. अब बुजुर्ग अपने बच्चों को लेके जाते हैं कि डॉक्टर कलाम के मेमोरियल को देखेंगे और इंस्पायर. तो पहले दो लोग जाते थे, अब एक घर से 4 लोग जाते हैं. के होटल वालों से जब मैं वहां पे रहता था, उनसे मैं पूछता था कि क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है. बोला साहब फर्क पड़ रहा है, यहाँ पे फुटप्रिंट्स ज्यादा हो गए. पहले मंदिर में फादर मदर आते थे, अब बच्चों को लेके आते हैं. बच्चे मंदिर में बेमन से जाते हैं और इधर बड़े प्यार से अंदर घुसते हैं. क्योंकि बच्चों को डॉक्टर कलाम से ज्यादा प्यार है।
What a
तो
Yes.
एक बहुत एक वहाँ पे इंस्पायरिंग चीज बनी है जिसमें बच्चों ने काफी बच्चे वहाँ जाकर के इंस्पायर होते हैं, और वो हमारा एक मकसद भी था, ऐसा होना चाहिए। जब ये मेमोरियल बन रहा था तो वहाँ पे एक बोर्ड लगा होता, बिकॉज हमारे पास सिर्फ 6 महीने थे मेमोरियल बनाने के लिए, और नेशनल मेमोरियल का एक क्लास होता है। यू कैन नॉट मेक अ मेमोरियल लाइक अ बिल्डिंग, द मेमोरियल शुड बी वर्ल्ड क्लास, दैट टू डॉक्टर कलाम, इट शुड रिप्रेजेंट द ट्रू लाइफ ऑफ डॉक्टर कलाम. So the way we have carved that the memorial, it was impossible to make it in 6 months. जब उसका हमने भूमि पूजन किया था, देश के हर एक स्टेट से मिट्टी ला करके उसके फाउंडेशन में डाला गया था, because he represents the entire national integrity.
Yeah, very true.
हर एक जगह से, because हमारे हर एक जगह लोग होते हैं, ट्रेन से या हवाई जहाज से, हर एक स्टेट की मिट्टी को ला करके पुणे में उसके फाउंडेशन में उनके ब्रदर थे, उनके हाथों से हमने वहां पे उसको समर्पित किया। और हम रोज वहां पे एक बोर्ड लिखते थे, D-160 days. So D was 27th of April 2017. -160 मीन्स 4, अभी 5 महीने बचे हैं या 6 महीने बचे हैं, ऐसे हम लिखते थे वहां। और 400 लेबर थे जो परमानेंट थे, जो काम कर रहे थे। जैसे जैसे नजदीक आता गया और भी बढ़ती गई, जुलाई के महीने में इनॉग्रेशन होता है, वहां पे मार्च से ही गर्मी हो जाती है। तो रिइंफोर्समेंट था, सरिया होता है, उसको छूने से उसका 50 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड, वहां पे लोग काम करने से उनका जो क्षमता है वो ऐसे ही आधा हो जाए, बिकॉज ऑफ वेग्रीज ऑफ द नेचर। हवा तेज चलती है, बालू उड़ते हैं और गर्मी बहुत थी, बट हम लगे रहते थे। एक महिला थी जो कि हमें लगता था वो शायद उस पूरे वर्कर की वो हेड थी। वो आकर के, वो खड़ी होकर के, जब मैं लिख रहा था D-45, तो वो आई मेरे पास, बोला साहब, और वो झारखंड के रहने वाली थी, बोले साहब आप रोज आकर के यहाँ पे D-45, D-46 करते रहते हो, बनने वाला नहीं है आपसे। मैंने बोला ऐसा क्यों बोल रहे हैं? बोले हमें दिन रात लगना पड़ेगा, हमें दिन रात लगना पड़ेगा इसमें, 9 to 5 में काम नहीं होगा। मैंने कहा तो मैं कहाँ से इतना ज्यादा लोग मैं कहाँ से लेके आऊं, बिकॉज दैट वाज आल्सो कंस्ट्रेंट। एक छोटे से जगह में 400-500 लोग से ज्यादा काम नहीं कर सकते। बोले साहब बनेगा भी तो लास्ट मोमेंट पे बनेगा, डॉक्टर कलाम है, हमें समझ में आता है, हमारा भी कुछ फर्ज है डॉक्टर कलाम से करने के लिए। मेरे पूरे लेबर 5 बजे चले जाते, आप खाने का व्यवस्था कर दो, हम 9 बजे तक काम करेंगे और पैसे नहीं चाहिए हमें 4 घंटे एक्स्ट्रा।
अच्छा,
हम 5 बजे इसीलिए कर जाते हैं ताकि हमें खाना बनाना होता है। आप अगर हमें खाना दो, खाने में भी खिचड़ी दे दो, हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए, 4 घंटे डॉक्टर कलाम को समर्पित करेंगे हम। 400 लेबर 4 घंटे उस दिन से 45 डेज से लेकर के वो लगे रहे, रात में 9 बजे 10 बजे। That was the real tribute by those 400 laborers for Dr. Kalam. And they did not ask for extra money, a single penny at all. That was Dr. Kalam who used to command such respect from each and every and corners and each and every person from this country.
Thank you so much, कर्नल साहब। आपने ये इंसिडेंट बता के हम जितने लोग भी सुन रहे हैं, you have put Rameshwaram as a must visit place.
नहीं कुछ ऐसे ही घटना थी।
आपका इतना सेक्रीफाइस है इसके लिए, और इतना विजन और इतना ये है, everybody should visit. At least I have got a great desire to visit.
आप जब जाएंगे हमें जरूर बताइएगा।
जरूर
हमारे लोग हैं वहाँ पे। तो डॉक्टर कलाम को मतलब ही इज द मैन। आज अगर मैं तो लास्ट में कंक्लूड यही करूंगा, भगवान को हमने देखा नहीं है, हमें भरोसा है। अगर इस आदमी के तौर पे अगर कोई भगवान थे तो डॉक्टर कलाम को मैं जरूर।
Absolutely, such a beautiful parting line from you, that भगवान को देखा नहीं है लेकिन डॉक्टर कलाम को देख लिया, and that was enough for and that is enough for everyone, and you have been absolutely blessed to have had that opportunity. स्वामी जी, with your permission, हम late already हो गए हैं, लेकिन अगर एक छोटी सी if you permit, final parting message that you would like to share with everyone through Dr. Kalam's examples, that how would you want the youth of today? डॉक्टर कलाम को गए कुछ समय हुआ, आपका उनके साथ एसोसिएशन बहुत लंबा रहा. According to you, what would Dr. Kalam want the youth of the day to live with? What kind of values? आप क्या चाहेंगे? Leadership values कौन सी imbibe करके वो आगे जाए?
Very true. You see, Dr. Kalam को हमने जैसा बताया कि we called him on 13th February 2002. That time he interacted with 3,000 youth. Again, we called him for another youth convention in 2012 at Baroda. Before that, he came to inaugurate Vivekananda Institute of Religion and Culture on 12 January 2006. That time he interacted with 5,000 youth at Porbandar. So 2 big public meetings at Porbandar. And again, he came on 18 January 2012 as a part of Swamiji's 150th birth anniversary. There was a big youth convention at Baroda, CC Authority. And another one was again an international youth conference on 9th and 10th of August 2013, which was inaugurated by him. That time he interacted with 1,000 students, youth. So in all the youth conventions, and of course in the talking with me, he was always having great expectation for the youth, and he tried to spare maximum of his time for youth. Not only that, when 22nd August, I met him at Rashtrapati Bhavan and handed over the video CD that we prepared based on the talk that he had delivered on 9th of August 2013. I had gone to Rashtrapati Bhavan to hand it over, and I told that all the youths were very much inspired at Baroda, and we would like you to invite once again. And the best would be now that if you can come again. That was 22nd of August 2006. That is 12 January 2006. He had come as Rashtrapati. At the time he was still Rashtrapati. So I said, now in the meanwhile I have been transferred to Baroda, and we would like to organize your lecture on 12th January 2007 in Baroda. He said, Swamiji, my term is ending in June 2007 as Rashtrapati, and I'll be very busy in winding up the matters. I said, what do you say? We want you to continue as the Rashtrapati, as the President of India. All the people want. We don't want you to quit this post. Then do you know what he said? Swamiji, I am a born teacher. I want to be teacher only. I don't want to be the President of India. And really the first thing he did was, as soon as he left Delhi, he went to Chennai again, rejoined that Anna Institute where he was teaching, and he joined 16 other institutes. And this is on, I'm telling about 22nd of August, that is 2006. He told the teacher only. And this is what he followed. 27th July, he was teaching to the students of IIM Shillong. And he was asked this question, how would you like to be remembered? Even in Porbandar, he was asked this question, how would you like to be remembered? And somebody had asked this question a few days before his passing away. How would you like to be remembered, as a missile man or as people's president? He said, no, I would like to be remembered as a teacher. And he died while giving the lessons to IIM students. So I say his life was very inspiring, very noble. But his death was also as glorious as his life. Wonderful death. While talking his whole life, he said, my aim is only to ignite the young minds. And while igniting the young minds of IIM Shillong, he passed away. So this is what I would like to say to the youths, that as Swami Vivekananda had great faith in the youth of our country, Dr. Kalam had great faith in the youth of our country. And he said, new India will come up. He had a vision for that. He loved the country like anything. Swami Vivekananda loved the country. He also loved the country. And he would always say, we have to day and night thinking how to get rid of the problems. There are so many problems in the nation. Youth must think about it. You must think about others. The spirit of service. the spirit of serving the nation, spirit of serving the society. Every time he would, in all his lectures, he would emphasize on that. Please do have big dreams. Not only dream of your own getting the package and career development, dream of serving the society, dream of doing something for the nation. This is what he used to impress upon the youth. So the best tribute that we can pay to Dr. Kalam is by following his teachings, following his model of servant leadership. Servant leadership means leading by example rather than by precept. Servant leadership means sharing the credit, taking up the brunt of the whole thing, be in front while receiving the blows, be in front while receiving the honor, be the last, sharing the power. These all the traits of noble leadership. This is what he wanted to convey. The spirit of service, the national spirit, the patriotism, love for the country. These are the ideas you would always focus, and simplicity and humility. This is Dr. Kalam, and as very rightly pointed out, Bhagwan ke aadmi the. Very few, I had the great pleasure and privilege of coming in contact with a few excellent human beings. And I dare say Dr. Kalam is one of them. Excellent human being. As a human being, excellent. What you can think of, a gentleman to the core, soft-spoken, humble, always caring for you, always trying to listen rather than speak, always trying to learn from others. Wonderful, wonderful. And then just see his humility when I heard that, as I told you, that I was traveling with him from Rajkot to Porbandar, 3 hours. We had a lot of talks. Then he said, Swamiji, please tell something about Swami Vivekananda. And I told many things. He said, I asked him, why are you so eager to learn about Swami Vivekananda? He said, what a beautiful answer he gave. You see, Swamiji, I think Swami Vivekananda is a rare saint who converted religion into practical spirituality. Now, this is what he emphasized. He emphasized on practical spirituality, Swami Vivekananda. And Dr. Kalam also emphasized on practical spirituality. Practical spirituality means serving the humanity. You may have your own namaz, you may have your prayers, but the real prayer, the real following religion is by serving the human being, by serving the God who is present in human beings. This message of Swami Vivekananda is the message of Dr. Kalam. Serve the society, serve human beings, be unselfish. And this is what he impressed whenever he met the youth. And I think this is the view to the youth, that follow the model of Dr. Kalam, this servant leadership, being humble, being simple. The old idea that now they say it is old idea. Simple living and high thinking. Now it is reverse thing. High living and simple thinking, sometimes no thinking. But we have to go back to the old idea of Dr. Kalam. What Dr. Kalam has demonstrated, what Gandhiji has demonstrated, simple living and high thinking. Of course, if you cannot do that, at least high living and high thinking. At least you come to that. You may have a little better standard of living for the modern youth. They will not go for simple thinking. Okay, you go at a little higher thinking, but at least thinking is a must. Higher thinking, better thinking, and higher purpose of life has to be thought of, and serving the humanity. So I'm very happy. We have brought out some books, and I will share with you the question answer that we had with Dr. Kalam at all these youth conventions, and we have brought out many videos. They are available in the YouTube also. Many of the lectures that Dr. Kalam gave in Porbandar, in Baroda, in our youth conventions, including the question answer session, everything is there in YouTube, and I can share it on, and we can share with others. But it was very nice to interact with Colonel Chaube, and sometimes we would like you to be our guest at Rajkot whenever you come this side.
जरूर स्वामी जी, आपका आशीर्वाद मिलेगा, जरूर आएंगे.
जरूर. And I would also have kept your
हैदराबाद में मैं हूँ. whenever you come to this side.
Yeah. If I go to Hyderabad, we have a center in, as you know, in Domalguda,
Okay.
Ramakrishna Mutt, Vivekananda Institute of Human Excellence, a beautiful center there. And there, sometimes I go there, then I will try to meet you there. You can also visit our center in Hyderabad in the meanwhile. And we look forward to meet you sometimes there. Very good.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. This is one evening I feel that I should not be watching the clock, or the clock should not be we are out of time, but this has been a great moment in learning, a great moment in understanding the mind of such a great saint that walked amongst us. And I've, of course, had the privilege of seeing him, meeting him only once, but then that was a huge opportunity. I remember visiting the Rashtrapati Bhavan at the behest of the current president, and I was there for 3 days. I happened to ask all the staff members there. Some of them have seen 5, 7, 8 presidents. And I asked them this question that, according to you, who has been the best president you have seen? Which was the best experience? Under whom you had the best experience? Everybody, it was in unison. They said it was Dr. Kalam. So both of you today have opened us up to one more chapter of Dr. Kalam's life, the lessons that we need to learn through servant leadership. And that is what Colonel Scientist also mentioned, that this is learned from Kalam Sahab, that the servant leadership, and what Swamiji is saying, कि जो चीज विवेकानंद जी ने की थी वही practical spirituality कलाम साहब ने भी follow करी, वही चीज हम स्वामी जी से भी सीख रहे हैं. स्वामी जी, it's been an absolute great privilege, and I consider this to be my blessing that we have in this lockdown 2 opportunities to interact with you. Thank you once again. From the greatest depths of my heart, I would like to offer my gratitude and that of all our attendees here. Swamiji, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Colonel Scientist Chaubey Sahab, thank you very much for being so candid in sharing all your beautiful experiences, specifically जहाँ पे वो चप्पल उल्टी हो जाती है और आपने उसको उल्टा ही रखा है, ये बताने के लिए कि व्यक्ति कितना simple था. Once again, on behalf of all of us at Youth Talks, thank you so much. Look forward to our next interaction, hopefully, if things permit, in person. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This video would be available on YouTube at Youth Talks. Please go check this, share this, because ऐसा interaction बहुत rare है जहाँ पे इतनी ईमानदारी से, इतनी directly लोगों का जो experience है वो आप तक पहुँच रहा है. Please share this with people as well. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Himadri.